Hello, Andrew Bell here again, and this little video clip is about writing the title for your master's level dissertation. Again, at master's level, you're writing your own question, and this is why some students struggle to actually start their project dissertations. They've actually got to set their own question that they're going to answer. And I think the first thing to recognise is that you're now an academic level, at master's level, and things in the question like what is or how do are just not going to be satisfactory. So you need to use an academic level language. And one of the critical words in your title will be the verb that you use. And at master's level, you're going to be operating at the higher end of Bloom's taxonomy. Hopefully you've been introduced to Bloom's taxonomy in your research methods modules. So the things that you do at the lower level of Bloom's, the things that you do at high school, you know things, you understand things, you can list things, these just aren't going to be good enough for a master's level dissertation. You need to look at those high level verbs in Bloom's, the compare, the evaluate, the judge, the justify. So try and use those verbs in the title. Now your title has to be not too broad, but not too narrow. So for instance, you can't review project management because project management is a massive topic. You couldn't probably even review project management in the automotive industry because it's still a massive topic. You need to go back and refine and focus this research idea, as I suggested in a previous video. You might want to select a particular country or a particular company that you want to look at. You might want to compare a good high-level master's verb, how they've done it in one company against how they've done something in another company. So we can't be too broad, we can't be too specific either. I've written down a little example here. I mean, you can't review the application of resource management in a small two-person company. I mean, there's just going to be nothing to compare it with. It's going to be too specific. And unless you've got access to that company, unless you can get to the data, it's not going to be a good title. Here's another one. A review of risk management practices in Toyota. Perhaps it's an okay title, but if you can't collect the data, it's going to be no good as a title. So we need a title that's not too broad. It has to come down and be specific on something. Remember, at Master of Science level, you're showing you're the technical expert on something. Demonstrating you're a technical expert in something as broad as resource management is not going to be easy. But saying that you've looked at resource management in a particular company, or you've compared how resource management operates between the automotive and the telecommunications industries, is more a demonstration of expertise. How long should the title be? Well, it's one sentence, no more than 2 lines when you type it into the computer. Short isn't necessarily good, but long is definitely bad. So one sentence, and no acronyms in the title. Don't use TQM for total quality management or LLC for life cycles. You know, actually use the full words. And I think finally, avoid bias in your title. You can't have a title that looks for the reasons for failure in something, because it's biasing your research. You're actually saying, well, this is failed before it started, and you need to have an open mind when you're starting off on your research. So you could change that into an investigation into the issues, but maybe that assumes that there are issues. So don't use the word problems. And similarly, it's the same. You can't look at the success of something. I mean, Tesla introducing electric cars, successful. It's okay for the media to say what a great success their automobiles are. But as an academic, you will have to look at why they are successful and determine if they are successful, and have a very neutral title that is an investigation into Tesla's product development life cycles, for instance, and that might conclude that they're successful or conclude that actually they're not as good as perhaps Apple, if that's what you're going to compare it with. So hopefully that's given you some idea about refining and getting a good master's level title. Think about the verb. Make sure you're using academic language. Make sure it's not too long. Don't use acronyms in there. And make sure you're not biased in the title. Okay, that's it. I think the next video clip might be about project aims and objectives, which will be an expansion on the title. Thank you for listening.